Thank you. Basi, come. In the middle there. Take pictures for the past. Thank you. We have here is Prince. Prince Sam Ogri is the promoter, the CEO, Chief Executive of Plantation City in Warri, Delta State. He is a man committed to planning and making sure that people live in good environments. A visit to his estate assures you beauty, convenience, and safety, which are the ideals. Sam Ogri was highly instrumental to the success, the 31st day of 2024, by the constitution of the institute and the assessment of the Madam Flora Ann is a distinguished journalist, a broadcaster, a presenter, a broadcaster, a presenter, a producer. She is on Housing TV Africa. Flora Ann has been so instrumental to a lot of our advocacy programs on AIT also. This and many other contributions. It is the pleasure of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, and as per the authority conferred on me by the Constitution of the Institute, I hereby pronounce you and declare today, 21st of October, 2024, that Madam Flora Ann, who is here represented by Folorunsho Shaw, who is a member of the crew, to declare her as honorary member of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. Congratulations. Well, is there anybody representing no. Yeah. So I will now call this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The last but not the least, Architect Dr. Saeed Alkali Kori. Architect Dr. Saeed Kori is the Chief Executive of Think Lab Group. As you see him, he is a young man, but his head or his brain is always working more than a machine. He believes that survival in life is by thinking and factorizing situations, whether you call it simultaneous or quadratic equations of circumstances of life. You will always get an answer. And there is no for an answer as an answer to him. When I told some of you in the morning that by the grace of God, the next time we are going to run our conference, you will see a 3 suspended floor building, very well, done for the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. This is our development partner. And through this development, the stigma that has been on NITP for the past 32 years shall be removed. It is by this and many other contributions that Dr. Said Khoury will make to the Institute and by the authorities conferred on me by the Constitution of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, I hereby declare Architect Dr. Said Alkali as honorary member of the Institute of I will give you a presidential handshake. This one is for the chairman.
In this way, and I have the permission of Mr. President to please bring him up microphone for his address before we now go into the investiture for our fellows elect. Please put your hands together for Professor Aloysius Okole, the chairman of the occasion. Please put your hands for him very well. Thank you, sir.
Your Excellencies, to be here. We are happy to at least handmark the distinguished members of this institute, which is one of the most critical arms in various aspects of life. Because anything has to do with self-planning. So that planning is a thing of mind which can be mirrored and getting to a point where we'll translate what we had planned from our inner self into reality within our broader society. That's why we value this association immensely. And when you move to some cities in Nigeria and you see the level of planning, you begin to wonder why some are planned and some are deliberately scattered. And how we wish that the whole landscape in this country are in such a manner that with your GIPS, you can always locate anywhere you wish to go. And that is why in my institution, we are trying to do our best to see how we can increase and improve, in fact, the capacity of not only the department, but the staffing. And if we're able to achieve that, we know it will not be easy. And I have to, some of us are so reluctant to come and join in sharing the peanuts we normally have in tertiary institutions. But just like some professions, the town planners are professionals driven by passion, driven by aesthetics, driven by changing the narrative within our climes. Because where you have effective time planners and listening and doing what they ask you to do, you are not going to be lacking in terms of beautifying your society, in terms of averting disasters, and in terms of doing something you ought not to have done. Because you might discover that you have an organization or an institution where you have personnel that you actually do not need. The greatest challenge we normally have in most climes is that you have personnel you don't need, and you keep on looking for personnel you need. It's part of the bane of our institutions. And the fundamental problem in higher institutions where you have town planners and others is that we have been suffused, pigeonholed into a curriculum that will bring very little value to us and to generations to come. And that is why it is a very shocking thing that a nation will have a unified curriculum that are directed at achieving nothing. And if you agree with me that when recently we changed the nomenclature and began to sing about certification, it is another way of admitting failure in the content of what we are doing. But it does appear that we have not learned anything from it. Because peculiarities arising from some ecological domains require that we should get manpower, train them to deal with the needs of our society. What might be needs of Enugu State, for instance, might not be needs of South-South or North-Central and other zones. But forcing everybody into one curriculum, and now dashing us 30% and said you can now add local content, is another way of admitting that we have got it wrong. So, I congratulate the leadership for what we are seeing today, and I have to confess that this is the first time I'm getting directly associated with what we are seeing and the town planners. And I will commend the national president, who appeared more, again, to be a very effective PRO, you know, with the way he has been conducting the affairs of today. And we thank you for the way you scrutinize the fellows, honorary fellows. It's not for everybody. It is not for everybody. The fellows will continue to be people that will add value to not only the institute, but to the larger society. Don't plan the town will plan your exit. That is why there must be a national policy backed by effective legislation that will get us to come back and plan so that the sanity will start coming back. And you hold the key. You hold the key to exercise insanity in us. Planning is what we are lacking everywhere, in our homes, in our schools, in our organizations. That is why it is very important to be associating with you and equally enjoying us to begin to partner greatly and enforce some of these ground norms in institutions of higher learning.